Hi, I'm Joel.
And I'm Leah, and today we have got an English accent lesson. Before we get started, don't forget to click subscribe on our channel for future content and press the bell.
So why is English accent training so important?
Firstly, wherever you go in life, the first thing anybody will take from you or absorb from you is the way you speak.
It's your first impression really, or second impression. First is what you look like, but then
agree.
second impression is what you sound like.
And often people will be quick to judge you before they get to know you.
So in my experience, out of all the English accents, whether that's American English, Australian English, or Northern or Southern English, the Southern English accent, so a neutral or standard English accent, is seen as the most prestigious, the most reliable, the most educated.
Just well-respected accent to have. Mainstream media used to be populated entirely by this accent.
Which is why it is known in some circles as BBC English accent, because the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company in the UK, only used to hire people with our sorts of accents. Now that's not the case. They hire people with all sorts of accents, but back in the day, they only hired us, people like us, because our accent was seen as the most educated and the right way to speak.
Following that, it would be unusual if you were learning English in anything other than this accent. I would find it quite unusual if I spoke to someone who had English as their second language, but they spoke with a regional accent.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone learn English in a Liverpudlian accent or in a Bristol accent. Like, it just doesn't happen.
It would be bizarre.
It would be really weird. I think it's either American English, isn't it? Or just British English, but by British meaning Southern English.
Essentially, the easiest way to sound more British is to consume as much British content as possible.
When you're learning a new language, they say the best thing to do is to move to that place and absorb yourself in that environment, and I think that applies to accents as well. Absorb yourself with that accent, listen to as many British English people as you can. Don't listen to people with loads of different regional accents. Listen to one type of accent, so Southern British accents, Southern English accents, RP, Standard English, they all mean the same thing.
And I think we get a lot of people messaging us saying, how can I improve my English? I really want to be better. And the simple answer is, you just have to absolutely commit to this and make a decision that you are only going to speak English when, if you're coming here, I'm only going to speak English. I'm only going to be around English speaking natives. And as soon as you make that promise to yourself, your English will improve, 100%.
Yeah.
But if you're just going to be, it's never going to happen.
Half-hearted.
Half-heartedly. You can't half-heartedly try to do anything.
No.
Because you won't see the results. But I get people messaging me on Instagram saying, I've learned so much from your channel, you've really helped me improve my English, how can I be even better?
Yeah.
No course that you enroll on is going to do it for you, you just have to do it for yourself.
And you're in the best place possible to do that.
Joel and Leah's
YouTube channel. But I mean, as well as us, you're living in the age of the internet, where you can watch as much content as you want as possible for free. No longer do you have to go and pay £100 an hour to go and see an accent coach or an English teacher. You've got all the lessons for free on the internet.
So you're welcome.
You're welcome.
I'm kidding. When you're in the UK, go and watch theatre. Don't sit at home watching too many films, because everything you're hearing is American English.
Yeah.
If you're getting confused and you can't really tell the difference between what you're hearing in Hollywood films and the way that Joel and I are speaking, then you really need to listen closely and just watch British people if you want to improve your British English.
Exactly. If you want to learn American English, absolutely fine. Go ahead and do that. But I think that's really confusing for people learning an English accent, is when you're confusing it with an American accent. For example, the R sound, the rhotic R, so in words like car, in British English, we don't say the R at the end. It's just open, car. But in America, they say it like
car.
So they've got the R at the end of the word. And just little things like that, British people will pick up on and go, oh, you're not from here. because they've heard you say car instead of car.
Yeah, that's a really nice car.
Mm-hmm.
It's not right.
No.
Well, it's not incorrect, it's just not British.
No.
Another thing that you said, example. We've covered this in other videos. It's just these small little signs.
Yeah.
You know, example is really American and also Northern, I would say, for example. But that's not the be all and end all.
No. No one's not gonna not understand you.
No.
It's just that if you want to be really specific, then you need to listen out for these tiny little differences.
Sounding more British gives you more social capital. It's not just a dated idea, it's not just the BBC English that Joel was talking about. It's true. If you're coming here and having job interviews, for instance, language is your biggest tool and your strongest weapon.
Yeah. It's a sad reality that if you come over and have a job interview and you're against a British English person and you speak English perfectly well, you're just as intelligent, maybe more intelligent, but you don't quite sound the same.
British, yeah.
People will judge you on that, and you most likely won't get the job because they want to go with someone who, well, because people are shallow, they'll go with someone that sounds like them.
Exactly. And I think that's why as well we've tried to create this channel which is about British culture, because you could speak perfectly, your pronunciation and everything about your English could be perfect, but an employer might be looking for you to just have a sense of humour that's similar to theirs, or just be on that level with somebody where they feel like they can go to the pub with you and they can have a drink with you and they can have banter. And I feel like what we're trying to give you is Britishness in one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because socialising is a huge part of British culture, even
And
in the workplace.
Yeah, for sure. So if I met somebody and I had a job, I know I would go for personality as well as if they were qualified for the job.
Yeah.
Because imagine having someone whose personality shines through the phone and you're talking to clients and so on. You just need that personable thing going on for you. And you can't only get that by speaking the language. That comes with living here, having British friends, making that commitment to yourself that you're going to like dive into British culture and really go for it.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lady at work who is absolutely lovely. She speaks English as a second language and speaks English perfectly, absolutely perfectly. And I overheard a conversation with her colleague, and she was saying that during her appraisal, her boss had come to her and said, there's no issue with what you're saying or what you're doing, like you're really great at this, but you're just a bit cold and abrupt with customers. And I think that was, and she'd said it was because that English is her second language. So whilst the issue isn't with her speaking, it's about her mannerisms, her attitude and things like that. So when you're learning English as well, don't just learn the sounds, try and learn about the culture and the mannerisms and the etiquette of British English people.
It goes the same the other way. Like, I'm really interested in Japan and I really want to go there. And I would love to learn Japanese but imagine if I was perfect at Japanese, but I knew nothing about eating the Japanese way and like how to be at the dinner table.
Yeah.
I could come across so rude without knowing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the same. You've just got to really absorb it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I hope that's helped those of you that are learning a British English accent. Those are just a few little tips and bits of advice for learning an English accent and culture.
We'd love to open up this conversation in the discussion, in the comments section, as a discussion. So please leave us a comment and let us know your thoughts. These are just our opinions, but obviously we're open to hear the opposite.
We're open to be wrong.
We're open to be wrong. Thank you so much, guys. We'll be back next week with another video.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.